Beware the Narcissistic Sociopath by Tanya J. Peterson. I created this video to start with in regards to the people I was dealing with at the time, which was Phil McConnell, Timothy Olmseth, Wayne Willett, a.k.a. 107, and others. And it just, because I have studied, personality disorders for years because of MK Ultra and all that, I saw a similar pattern in all these people. And so I did some research into it and put this little video together. It had to have been early 2018 or late 2017. It was right around the time that Phil McConnell went to prison or to jail. So some of my opinions may have changed here and there. I went through a lot of stuff in between here with whether I believed in Trump or not. So don't hold me to every word I say in this, because this was in the beginning. But the part about the narcissistic sociopath is very clear. I'd heard of sociopaths, I'd heard of narcissists, I've heard of psychopaths, and I pretty much knew what they were. But the words kept coming into my head, narcissistic sociopath. It's like they're both. I didn't know such a word existed until I started researching. And it is an actual diagnosis, narcissistic sociopath. So I had redone this video and about 3 months ago, and uploaded it to YouTube, but I didn't listen to it, and I just went back to look at it tonight because I was going to share it with someone and realized there was no sound after this first part that I just said. So I'm redoing it again. The video that I have has the sound in it. It's not that good. My speaker system wasn't real good back then, but this will just give you the gist of what I had to say back then. Just going to read this to you. And everybody needs to study this and watch for the signs. I was told by a very good, well-connected friend of mine, ex-Alphabet agency, before he passed away a couple years ago, that 5% of the world's population are sociopaths. And most of them are in either wannabe leadership positions or leadership positions, because that's what they crave. That doesn't mean that all people who are in leadership positions are narcissists or sociopaths, but because many are good people that want to help right the wrongs in the world. But you learn the signs. Okay, if a sociopath is someone who, because he is antisocial, or social with no conscience, lies, manipulates, and controls people any way he so desires, what is a narcissistic sociopath? The way I came across this narcissistic sociopath is I had never heard of such a thing. But it just crossed my mind one day when I was, watching Phil McConnell, and I thought, he's a narcissist, but I also think he's a sociopath. So I looked it up, and behold, it was literally a term in the psychiatric world, a narcissistic sociopath. It means they have the traits and behaviors of both. The traits and behaviors of a sociopath are chilling enough on their own. Almost unbelievably, a narcissistic sociopath intensifies sociopathy and takes it to another level. Okay, here's the sociopath traits, characteristics of a sociopath. Wouldn't it be nice to know them before you run into trouble? A sociopath can be a bit of an enigma, for he's someone who stands out in a rather obvious way, or he hides deceptively. Right out in the open, Despite his confusing nature, there are no sociopath traits and characteristics of a sociopath that help people recognize the sociopathic personality. Sociopathic personality traits and characteristics are sometimes subtle aspects of a character that drive what he or she does. Together they form a persistent, and they're men and women both, and pervasive pattern that define a sociopath. They're consistent over time and are part of all aspects of life. A sociopath test may or may not reveal a person's true nature. Take the sociopath test. Am I a sociopath? Screening to understand what traits and characteristics of a sociopath the test measures. Sociopath traits delineated. The characteristics of a sociopath make up who he is. Sociopathic traits influence what he does. A sociopath is a cold, callous, and calculating individual who has a pattern of lying, irresponsibility, manipulation, and a lack of emotion. Now you tell me, those of you who followed Phil McConnell and Timothy Homeseth for years and years, lie through their teeth, do and say irresponsible things, manipulate people through lies and deception, and have no emotion about it. They don't care what they do to other people. Doesn't occur to them to care. Some famous sociopaths have stories that illustrate the depravity of a sociopath in a way 4 bullet points cannot. Oh yeah, I should have also mentioned Daniel John Lee in that. And while we're at it, let's mention Wayne Willett, because he's one too. There's a lot of them out there. Untrustworthiness. Never trust a sociopath. He's a liar. He lies to get his way. He lies to hurt. And sometimes he lies just for his own amusement. A sociopath is extremely skilled at lying. So much so that it always seems as though he's telling the truth. As a pathological liar, a sociopath constantly makes up stories so captivating that people easily believe them. Phil McConnell, Timothy Homeseth, Daniel Lee, Wayne Willett, 107. A sociopath lies with natural deftness. Stories are compelling and believable, and he tells them oh so very well. A sign of a sociopath is the ability to maintain eye contact. He does so even while lying. An underhanded trait of a sociopath is the ability to control people through his presence and communication style. He makes eye contact, smiles sincerely and confidently. He's magnetic and draws his audience, whether it's a crowd of 1 or 100 or more, or hundreds of thousands, or tens of thousands, as in the case with these people that I just mentioned. The sociopath is that charismatic. If you come across a narcissistic sociopath, beware of his sense of entitlement. If you don't worship him, you will pay. I'm being paid by 107, Wayne Willett, simply because I told the truth about him. They don't like that. They don't like, the darkness doesn't like the light. Excuse me. A characteristic of a sociopath is that he is so charming, so personable, that you want to believe him. I believed him. I believed him for a while. I thought he was John F. Kennedy Jr. for about 2 weeks, until I heard him start cursing. Many people who do believe him, which is why he gets away with it, don't believe him. Phil McConnell, Timothy Homeseth, Daniel John Lee, 107, Wayne Willett, on and on and on. They're irresponsible. They can be incredibly successful. Look at Wayne Willett, excelling in powerful careers. I mean, look at all the sociopaths in our government. Now, Donald Trump has a bit of a narcissistic side to him, but he's not a sociopath. He genuinely cares for people. He's just sure of himself. And you know what? I am too. That doesn't make a person a sociopath. The only reason I'm sure of myself is because I know God's got my back. And I know Phil McConnell said the same thing. God has everybody's back if they're doing the right thing. A sociopathic characteristic is that the motivation differs drastically from everyone else's. She or he can be responsible in the way that the world defines responsibility, if it suits their whim. That is, if it helps her or hurts someone she wants to hurt, or him. Otherwise, a sociopath doesn't care about conforming to someone else's definition of responsibility. All I ever asked of Wayne, and I was very nice about it, I said, please, just with your own voice, on one of these big shows that you're on, say something along the lines of, I, 107, am not John F. Kennedy Jr. And I apologize if you were misled. Because he never personally came out and said it. Sociopaths know how to protect themselves. He let somebody else say it for him. And that was Phil McConnell. Phil McConnell came right out in public and said, called him JFK Jr., and he sat there and chuckled and went along with it. After Timothy Homseth was court-ordered not to mention Kim Picassio's name, well, he handed it over to Phil McConnell. And Phil McConnell took up that chant. And because he's a risk taker, which is a big risk taker, they don't care if they end up in jail or whatever, he continued with it. He would not listen to anybody that told him the truth. This whole group of grifters are sociopathic, narcissistic sociopaths in one form or another. Some are more charismatic than others. When accused of anything, the sociopath shrugs it off in cool denial. He or she is acutely aware of her actions, or his actions, and has neither shame nor remorse for what they've done. They just won't take responsibility, ever, because they genuinely believe their actions are always justified. Victims deserve what they get. Manipulation, no emotion, chilling sociopath's traits. To sociopath, people are toys or pawns to mess with and manipulate. The world is but a circus, and the sociopath is the ringmaster. He manipulates and controls who he wants, how he wants, and whenever he wants. He plays the game of life for fun and personal gain. Perhaps one single trait of a sociopath allows all the others to exist. This one trait leads to the other characteristics of sociopath. The sociopath feels no empathy, no emotion. He's unencumbered by feelings such as fear, anxiety, stress, depression, remorse, guilt, care, or loving. How do you think Timothy Homseth continues? He's on the run from the law. But he's willing to take any chance to get his message out there. This allows him to move through life freely, doing what profits and amuses him. When he tires of one circus, he closes it down, and feeling nothing about the destruction he leaves behind, he sets out to create a new one. And that's what Timothy has been doing all his life. A woman who for a long time was married to a sociopath and suffered many consequences writes, one of the most prominent and telling traits of many sociopaths is their fantastic ability to manipulate others and lie for profit, to avoid punishment, or simply just for fun. Buttafuoco, 2009. The traits of a sociopath portray someone who doesn't care what his traits and characteristics are, as long as he can use them for his advantage. So that's the definition of a sociopath. I'll go back to the narcissist. Okay, so we just read that article. Those are chilling enough on their own. Almost unbelievably, a narcissistic sociopath intensifies sociopathy and takes it to another level. People are toys. They are trash. Sociopathy combined with narcissism can be extremely dangerous. Beware the narcissistic sociopath. Officially, what is a narcissistic sociopath? The American Psychiatric Association, 2013, describes and defines both antisocial personality disorder, the clinical term for what is commonly called psychopathy or sociopathy, and narcissistic personality disorder in its authoritative diagnosis and statistical manual of mental disorders, 5th edition. Antisocial personality disorder is a pervasive pattern of disregard for violation of the rights of others, a pervasive pattern of grandiosity. You tell me all of those guys don't have... When you think of grandiosity, think of Phil McConnell on first name connections with the President of the United States. Think of Timothy Homseth. He was handpicked by the President of the United States to be the one and only journalist, award-winning journalist, which is a lie. He's never provided any proof of that. Appointed by President Trump and his wife, Melania, to head up this mysterious Pentagon pedophile task force, which has been proven not to exist. But he's the only one in the whole world to give us the news about that. It's a secret organization, but he's out there talking about it all the time. That's grandiosity. When somebody says and lies about it. Now, if they're stating a fact that they are indeed the President of the United States, then that's just like our president. You know, people say he's a narcissist. Well, he's just stating facts. He is the President of the United States. You know, he's been honest about how he feels. And you don't have to love him, but I'll tell you one thing. He knows how to get things done, and I think it took his type of personality to do this. But he's using his for good. Whether you believe that or not, you will know. Those are separate definitions of these personality disorders. It is possible to be clinically diagnosed with both simultaneously. Cold callousness and lack of empathy, plus grandiose self-admiration and disdain for others, equal a sociopathic narcissist who believes that she or he deserves to exploit people and dispose of them when finished. Have you seen how many people Timothy's disposed of if they crossed him? Narcissistic sociopath is a bad combination. Sociopath and psychopath are words that commonly describe antisocial personality disorder. Sometimes they're used interchangeably, but some experts differentiate between the two. Now, to me, a psychopath is one who, murders people and does physical harm. The sociopath is more mental harm. Perhaps inserting narcissism into the mix might help people decide which term to use. A sociopath doesn't care if he's benefiting even anyone. Cold, calculating, and manipulative, he doesn't think about others at all unless they can benefit him. The ex-cult pastor of the cult I was in was like that, except he did have people taken out and not to lunch. A narcissist believes he's great, that everything about him is magnificent. And yes, Trump says that. So he's a bit of a narcissist. God can use narcissists too. He knows without unwavering confidence and beyond even consent that he's benefiting everyone around him. In reading, a wide variety of literature patterns become evident. It appears that it is a combination of these personalities that constitutes a narcissistic sociopath. Further, it's the description of a narcissistic sociopath that is the common conceptualization of a psychopath. How do you spot a sociopathic narcissist? Watch for certain traits. A driven quest for power. If a narcissistic sociopath cares about anything other than himself, it is destructive power and control over people. Behaviors that seek love and admiration. To be sure, this isn't needy love. It's not even emotional love. It's superficial. A narcissistic sociopath sees love and admiration as power tools to manipulate and dominate. No apologies, no guilt, no remorse, under any circumstances. A sociopathic narcissist believes that she is a gift to the world, who makes it richer, more colorful. Therefore, their calculated, even cruel actions are always justified. Invincibility. The narcissistic variety of sociopath believes he is indomitable. Even punishment and prison can't stop him. Field literally sicked his minions on Kim Picasio while he was in jail being recorded, and told them that it was porcine season, pig hunting season. And everybody knew that he was talking about her because he called her Miss Piggy and a porcine. They're merely part of the game, wholly self-serving. The needs and wants of others are insignificant and undeserving of consideration. They act as the producer, director, and only actor in their own show. The narcissistic sociopath casts people in roles that increase his power. This is what Wayne Willett is doing. He goes on these little shows and builds up their numbers so that he can increase his power and sense of importance. By increasing their numbers, he gets more listeners. Think, people, please, I'm begging you. Wayne Willett is not a good person. He's not even, he has a cunning intelligence. Emmy Thomas is a self-proclaimed sociopath whose memoir, 2013, screams narcissism throughout. Writes matter-of-factly, ruining people is delicious. Beware the narcissistic sociopath. Tack this on at the end here. Since I made this video, I've found a whole lot more of them. And it's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And everybody should kind of look into this and kind of get it in your head. And look at the fruit that so many podcasters are producing. It's all about me, I. And I have the truth and you don't. And sometimes people do have the truth and others don't. But even liars have some truth. So it's a good tool to have in your toolbox. God bless you.